Hari Om. Today we begin the study of the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But before we go into this chapter, again a little background of Bhagavad Gita and the previous two chapters which we have seen. So Bhagavad Gita is a manual of our life given to us directly by the Creator Himself. So it is very authentic. The study of Bhagavad Gita gives us wisdom which ultimately leads us to the state of enlightenment. Instead of living in this world instinctively or living in this world only by mere perceptual knowledge or by worldly knowledge, we can live in this world as an enlightened being. At present, and even in the olden times, only rare few individuals is to gain the state of enlightenment. But all of us are potentially capable of attaining the state of enlightenment. It is not meant for only a few. Bhagavad Gita is given out in the background of this Mahabharata war. It is the war between the good and the bad, Pandavas and the Kauravas. The hero of the Pandavas is Arjuna, and the villain of the Kauravas is Duryodhana. So though this war it became ultimately inevitable, and Arjuna had to fight this war to defend dharma, but he got confused in the battlefield. He became little scared also of death, his own death, death of his own family members, his brothers, his uncles, his teachers, and he also became little confused regarding the meaning behind this war, whether it is righteous, whether we really need to fight this war. He was confused regarding dharma. And this led to great sadness, which ultimately became sort of dejection. And he surrenders to Bhagavan Sri Krishna and requests him to please explain to me, teach me what is dharma, what is my dharma. So Bhagavan begins his teaching by revealing him the nature of his own self. Not knowing ourselves who we are is the basic cause for all our problems and confusions and sorrows in life. We have to understand and gain our own, identity of our own self. So in the second chapter, which is the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan first reveals the nature of this self to Arjuna. He conveys to him that you are that self, you are that Atma, you are that pure consciousness which is neither born nor does it die. And it is not confined only to your body, but it is all pervading. At present, you are not aware of it. You have identified with your body. But when you come to recognize your own self, the nature of your own self, you will become free of all your bondage and live in this world as an enlightened being. So the nature of the self which was revealed was called Sankhya Buddhi, knowledge of the self. But in order to reach this state of enlightenment, what is required is we need to go into the state of samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi. The mind, the intellect, the senses should be quietened so that we come to realize ourselves as we are. Because at present, we are as though colored by the senses, the mind, and the intellect. Our real nature is not recognized. So we need to transcend our senses, our mind, our intellect, and that is called the state of samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi. In that state of nirvikalpa samadhi, one comes to realize one's own nature as we are. Once it is realized, we can again see the body, see the world, and live in this world as enlightened being. But one cannot reach this state of samadhi easily. For that, what we require is knowledge, theoretical understanding and conviction about the nature of our own self. In order to gain that knowledge, we should require proper qualification of our mind and intellect. Just as in the world also, if we want to gain any specific knowledge, we require some qualification. Similarly, to gain this knowledge of the self, to gain that state of enlightenment, certain qualifications of the mind, of the intellect is required. Certain ability to discriminate, vivek, vairagya, dispassion, quietude of the mind, faith, single-pointedness of the mind, complete control over our senses, over our mind. All these are required. How to gain them? How to gain this qualification? Where can we go to gain this qualification? Bhagavan says you don't have to go anywhere. You have to just transform your attitude while living in this world, performing your duties. By merely transforming your attitude in performing your duties, slowly and steadily, you will be able to gain this qualification. That attitude behind our duties, that attitude which can make our mind pure and fit for knowledge is called the attitude of karma yoga. So the great technique of karma yoga was also revealed in the second chapter, wherein Bhagavan says you fulfill your responsibilities, dedicating all your actions to the Lord as His worship, keeping totally detached and without having even attachment for the results of action, and taking whatever comes as prasad. You perform your action, it will slowly and steadily take you to the ultimate goal, which is enlightenment. So what is the nature of an enlightened person? That was also revealed in the last 18 verses of the second chapter. Sthita prajna lakshana. Enlightened person is one who is completely content and satisfied in his own self. One who doesn't have any more desires left in his heart to achieve anything. There is no sense of incompleteness. There is complete fulfillment. As a fulfilled, as a content, as a peaceful, enlightened being, he lives in this world, blessing everyone who come in contact with him. Even at the last minute of our life, if we attain this state of realization, we will be free. So thus, in the second chapter, Bhagavan revealed the entire essence of Bhagavad Gita, the path of karma, and also that state of knowledge. Now, having listened to this very carefully, maybe not very carefully, Arjuna got a doubt. See, Arjuna did not want to fight this war. He was hesitating to fight this war. And here when he heard Bhagavan Krishna telling him the importance of knowledge, importance of the state of enlightenment and how great it is, and compared to that, all karmas are also not so great, they are inferior, they create bondage. So having heard this, Arjuna got this doubt that on one hand you tell me the greatness of this knowledge, and on the other hand you also tell me to fight this war, to perform karma. So it is little confusing to me. I don't understand. Why don't you advise me not to fight this war and just sit somewhere and meditate? That is the best thing. I can just drop all this war business, go to the Himalayas, sit quietly, take sannyas, sit quietly and meditate. Because ultimately, if we have to meditate and realize the truth, why perform action? And why perform this ghora karma, this terrible action of war? So Arjuna begins this third chapter. I will give you a summary of the third chapter. So he begins this third chapter by asking this question. So when Bhagavan heard this question, he came to know what exactly is the confusion in Arjuna's mind. He came to know that Arjuna is not very clear about the relationship between knowledge and action. Though knowledge is the ultimate goal, action cannot be renounced. Action is important to qualify us to reach that goal. Like the example I had given last time also of pole vaulting. Though ultimately we have to drop the pole and jump across, but in order to reach that height, we need the help of the pole. We can't jump without the help of the pole. So relationship between karma and knowledge is revealed to Arjuna in the beginning. And then Bhagavan goes on to explain why we should perform action, gives various reasons, and then he also explains in detail, once we are convinced that we have to perform action, how we should perform action. Both the things are important. Why we should perform action and how should we perform our actions. So elaborately the attitude of Karma Yoga is explained with examples. After explaining this, Bhagavan also tells us who goes beyond this bondage of action, the state of that person, a realized master who goes beyond the bondage of action. Also, but still that person acts in this world. A realized master also acts in this world. So what is the inspiration behind a realized